Well, let's do a lesson first, and then I'll talk more about the events and the scheduling. So what I thought I would be doing today is actually, and I haven't done this yet on chess.com, so let's see how good I am. But not long ago, we had the FIDE Grand Swiss, and we had quite a few American players who've done pretty well. And I was particularly impressed with Andy Woodward. Of course, he's recently become a strong, he's getting stronger and stronger as a grandmaster, and he was, you know, I figured I should choose a player who's actually within that age group for the tournament that comes up, because, you know, why not? This could be an inspiration for some of the players who are considering to take part in the grade championships. And Andy had a really impressive performance, and this specific game that I want to show you is actually a game that he played against the Grandmaster Parham Magsulu. And I was particularly impressed. There was a little bit of a, you know, maybe a mistake that he made at a point in time, which I will talk about. But other than that, I figured it's time to show something that we can hopefully see in the grade championships as well. So Andy had the white pieces, and he started with d4, d5, c4, e6, knight f3. So he's transposing from a Queen's Gambit. It's not transposing. He just basically switches to a Catalan, knight f3, knight f6, and g3. Now, in this position, d takes e4. It's one of the, you know, more played lines for black. Bishop g2, a6. And here, basically, this a6 move is oftentimes played in order to support potentially some b5. Normally after castle, black doesn't go b5 yet, right? Because it opens up this diagonal, so it goes for knight c6. And I gotta say that up to this point, the players, you know, just followed main theory. Everything looks pretty good. If this is a Catalan, would be disappointed. I'm so sorry. It's a beautiful. It's not the kind of Catalan you expect. So please stay close, Chessful, because I promise you, it's something you will enjoy, I hope. So they followed the main theory, but here Andy did not go for what, you know, would be considered the main line, which, well, you know, e3. Instead, he gives up the pawn in d4 too. So we are trying to get into some kind of unbalanced position where white actually gets a little bit of the initiative. When you're giving up material, you're giving up the material in order to in order to help build up initiative. Why we're looking over this game? Well, this game was played already. The Grade Championships will take place in Spokane in December. Well, we're approaching it, right? So it's going to be between December 12th and 14th. And Andy is a talented young player who could potentially compete in the tournament. I don't believe he does in this specific one, but all of the, you know, young players in the United States who have gotten to become, you know, much stronger have competed in grade championships, or most of them have competed in at least one, to my knowledge. Maybe some of them have escaped this tournament, but it is always wonderful to be able to get so many kids from all over the United States to compete. And so you do plan on competing. Did you register already? I hope you did, because I will be showing a lot of registrations and everything. I just thought I would be waiting for a few more people to join before showing everything. Awesome. That's great. Great to hear that. And hopefully you have some players who are, you know, your inspiration, that I don't know, help you know where to go from here. But to me, you know, watching Andy's play, like seeing him progress over the past few years is quite nice. And I just thought this would be a nice game to show. I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I did. It was my choice, Chessful, by the way. Nobody told me to choose this game, so hopefully I chose right. So the idea of this move is that White attempts to gain some development, and they give up this pawn. They just basically say, well, take it if you want to. We don't need the pawn. And Black responded with knight takes d4. I think it makes a lot of sense to capture the pawn when it's given to you. Takes, queen takes d4. So basically in this position, Black is up 2 pawns, right? So when we are up 2 pawns, obviously we have to give something in return, and in this case we're giving up development. And this is what Andy had in mind when he played this, I'm sure, to find a way to develop his pieces as fast as possible and build up a better position. What I want to note for you guys to notice as well is the fact that this bishop opened up on the diagonal also restricts Black from pushing the b pawn and developing this bishop in c8. So White needs to make sure that that bishop remains somewhat opened, and then if at some point you choose to play c6, kind of find a way to take advantage of the dark squares, which will be weakened by the push of the pawn. And then also, of course, what we want to make sure we do is that this bishop in c8 does not get opened. Okay, he hasn't seen this game when he wrote that. Knight to d2. So what White wants is obviously, have the ability to recapture the pawn with the knight. Now, a move like rook d1 could be nice as well, but we want to make sure we have a follow-up to the development and not just one piece. So knight e2. And in this position, I guess Black can consider just developing the bishop, like maybe bishop e7 or something. But then White was gonna take, I'm pretty sure. And then after castle, rook d1, attacking the queen, you go back somewhere, I don't know, maybe a7. And then maybe bishop e3 could be something unpleasant that comes, rook c1. And it's just a slightly more pleasant position, I would say, for White. So going back to the game, Black decided that he didn't want to actually keep 2 pawns. He wanted to make sure he has the ability to develop. So he played this move c3 as an attempt to destroy a little bit White's pawn structure as well. So if we take with the queen, then obviously we will get into an endgame where we're down a pawn, and it's not really ideal to be down a pawn. So pawn takes, of course. And now Black proceeded with the move queen c5. Where else to move the queen? You don't want to put it in a way of another piece of White's attacking it, so c5 seems pretty reasonable. Now, basically here with White, what we're trying to do is figure out a follow-up to, again, make moves with tempo and develop. We, of course, have this move knight b3, but Andy wanted to make sure he kept the pressure on b7 too. He wants to have under reach the ability of getting the pawn back if he needs to. Pawn to e4 is nice, Chessful. Oh, you said a4. Sorry, I thought you said e. Pawn to a4 is nice with the idea to go bishop a3. I like that. I like that idea. But probably I could move the queen, and in fact, this could be something that Black may want to do. Maybe some queen c5, offering a trade. You definitely don't want to play e4 in my opinion, because pretty much all of your pieces get kind of restricted by the pawn, and I'll just, I'll find a way to hide someplace. And then, of course, if I have the opportunity, maybe, just maybe, I'll go e5 myself and get this bishop out. And we don't want this, right? When we're playing the Catalan, this is the bishop that we want to keep open. Think about whether you're playing a Grunfeld, for example, with the black pieces. Your Grunfeld bishop is the heart of the game. You want to keep that bishop opened. You don't want to play an e5 or allow the locking of it. You always attack the center with c5. Similarly, in these positions, you want the bishop to be open. So that's why this is kind of nice. Now, Andy played the move rook b, sorry, not here in this position, apologies. He played the move rook to b1, keeping the pressure in b7 and having the ability to grab. I'm sorry, Chessful, what do you mean? They're so similar. The Catalan and the Grunfeld, you don't see the similarities? Interesting. I see a lot of similarities. I don't know. Uh, okay, we can have a discussion about it later if you want. But it's just the idea of a very strong fianchetto bishop that helps, you know, control the board. So after rook b1, black plays the move bishop d6. He's trying to proceed with the development. I think it makes a lot of sense. And now Andy, again, he's not in a rush to go knight b3. He plays the move c4. So with this move, he actually has an idea. He's taking advantage of the fact that black has developed the bishop in d6. And now we want some knight b3, chase the queen away. Then we can go c5. The bishop would have to move. And we've gained a little bit of space. Our two pawns, our I wish I could make another color. How can I find a green? Oh, there it is. And our pawns A and C are going to advance so much that would actually keep black's entire 3 pawns on the queen side, and we won't even feel that we're down a pawn. You know, that's basically the idea. So, in this moment, if you're black, you realize, wait a second, I need to do something, I need to develop, and you would think to castle, right? Well, for some reason, someone of the caliber of Magsulu, I wouldn't think, you know, gets too worried about these things, but somehow he did, and he did not end up castling. He was worried probably of this and ended up playing this move queen to h5. So I put this move as dubious because I felt that this move is just indeed leaves so that the knight doesn't come in with tempo, but in h5 is going to be exposed, and though you may have some ideas with knight g4 and put pressure in h2, it's not going to be a big deal. It's just a little bit of attack, but nobody's been scared of such an attack before. Well, everybody has. I'm just trying to make it bigger than it is. And here Andy played the move knight e4. If you look at the position, we still need to develop this bishop, and b2 is certainly the place where we want to put the bishop. But before doing that, we are going to try to take advantage of the queen being exposed. And there is a reason, another reason why the queen was placed there, because it does control or defend the h7 square. So after castling, you might be worried that, wait, that square will be, you know, attacked, but with the queen here, you're also defending. So knight e4 was played, and this move kind of forces black to trade. Knight takes e4, and now bishop f3. I love this move so much. While it seems natural to just capture the knight in one setting, bishop f3 is a really, really nice in-between move that chases this queen away so that it can capture the knight. And without the queen there, guess what? When we take the knight, that pawn in h7 is going to be under attack, which means black will not be able to castle because they will lose the pawn. And so, well, this might have been something missed by black. The queen needs to move, and you can't really put it in g6 or f5 because obviously when the knight is captured, it will be with tempo. So you need to go on the other side, therefore waste of time. And now you can understand why I put queen h5 as a dubious move. The queen has moved way too many times. Think about it. Queen takes d4, queen c5, queen h5, queen a5. This is move 14, and out of 14 moves, 4 of them were with the queen. Is that something to do? Probably not. Well, considering that, in this position, Andy has to recapture the piece, right? So he takes it with the bishop. And now black cannot castle immediately, so he ended up playing c6. What to do in this position? Maybe h6 could have been some kind of option here for black in order to, you know, protect the pawn and then castle. But of course, black can do that, and white would play bishop e3, and then the idea would be c5. As mentioned earlier, it is very important for white to find a way to control or stabilize the position on the queen side where black has the majority, and after that we can figure out what to do. So c6 was played, but this move, although restricting white's bishop towards the queen side, it does in fact put another pawn on light square and restricts black from developing the bishop. So rook d1 initiative involves making moves with tempo. Bishop e7, what to do, and bishop b2. Finally, we have developed the last piece, and we developed it with tempo. Now we're on move 17. It took a little bit of time for both sides to really figure out what was the best setup for the pieces. And now g7 is hanging, meaning black is going to suffer once again and not being able to castle. What does this teach us so far? Well, you need to be careful with what pawns you're capturing, and once you do, make sure you have a follow-up on how you're going to develop and place your pieces. Should you not be able to do that, you may end up in positions where having to move the same piece more than once is going to be a problem, and well, you might end up having a worse position. So, you know, be mindful about that. Queen g5, h4. Now, this queen was attacked, so he had to move it in h6, but come on, I mean, look at the position. The queen has moved again. And is it looking nicely in h6? Probably not. Still very restricted. And of course, it's not really ideal. White proceeded in this position with the move bishop e5. I like this move very much. Obviously, we have some ideas to play bishop f4. We're also stopping any kind of rook b8. We have the ability of you know, controlling the whole diagonal, and also maybe we can go some bishop c7 at some point, so that after black castles, rook d8 is not an option. Black played the move f6 to chase the bishop away, and bishop c7, and finally at move 20, after a long move, lots of moves and everything, black is getting ready to castle. But first f5. I still think castle would have been slightly better. f5 puts another pawn on the light square. It gives him the opportunity to play bishop f6, but think about it. This bishop is very sad, restricted by its own pawns yet again. Bishop g2, of course, and now finally move 21, black manages to castle. Now, looking at this position, it's move 21, right? So we sacrificed a pawn, we got a fast development, we have restricted black somewhat from his development, but we still have not recaptured our pawn. So what to do next? Well, in positions like this, where it's not super dynamic anymore, right? There's nothing else that we can do to gain more development. What you have to do is try to think on what kind of positional advantage could you have that's going to compensate for the pawn down. Or maybe it's going to be more than just compensate, it's actually going to give you the advantage. And so what white does in this position is make sure that the position is going to be stabilized on the queen side, specifically with this pawn in b7, and make sure that the bishop in c8 is not going to be developed anymore. So it's going to be like, you know, stuck there. So what he does in this position, Andy, he plays first queen c3. I think this was a little bit of a maybe not the best choice in the position. I think he should have done this directly. Playing this move would stabilize the pawn structure here, right? So you won't be able to push that pawn because we'll take en passant. We are restricting you from developing. Any a5, we can always meet with a4, which is going to keep the position very well, you know, stuck on that side of the board. And then we can think of a way to start putting pressure on those pawns that are weak. I wasn't quite sure what was the use of this move queen c3. Maybe he was trying to attract bishop f6, or maybe he wanted to control the e5 square, but it was already controlled. So this was just one of those moves where I personally wasn't able to understand quite well. If you guys have any ideas, feel free to let me know. But, you know, it's kind of a nice improvement move for the queen, but I just personally didn't really find its use. Black played the move a5, and finally Andy played c5, the move that I was expecting to be played a move earlier. Had Black played this move bishop f6, maybe things could go slightly better for them. Maybe just give up the pawn back to try to have the ability to develop this bishop. Obviously, we could trade. And then queen f6 or queen e6. Queen e6 probably will lose the pawn. Maybe queen f6, try to trade, though the position is indeed very difficult for black. But going back to the game, after c5, bishop f6, queen c4, pinning the pawn to make sure e5 is not an option. And in this position, you know, what to do with black, right? The rook is stuck in a8, the bishop cannot develop. This rook cannot come to d8 to be traded due to this one. So we're looking at what is the worst placed piece. That's the queen. So we're trying to just improve its position. Queen here to come back into play. And now white needs a follow-up too, because, okay, b7 is weak, but even if you double on the file, are you going to sack an exchange? Probably not. You cannot really use the bishop to put pressure. So Andy decided to find a way to open up the position a little bit to give himself the ability to attack, particularly this other weakness. We got two weaknesses we can attack. We just need to figure out how the bishops will get into play. So he played this move e4. I really like this move. Obviously, if you capture, we're going to take back with the bishop, and then we have the ability to go either rook d6 or here, double up on the e file, switch back with the bishop, and eventually that pawn will fall, so we'll finally get our pawn back. Black played the move queen f7, bishop d6, and now black is really under tremendous pressure to complete development. And so what do you think white did? What do you think black did? He decided to just sacrifice the pawn back. Just like, I don't need the pawn anymore. I'm going to let you take it. Let's see how things go. Now, do we trade the queens or do we not? Well, the answer should be very simple. You should ask yourself, who is going to benefit from the trading of the queens? In this position, white is the one with more space. When you have more space, you are perfectly fine to have more pieces. You having more space means the opponent has less. So guess what? We're keeping the queens on the board. We're not going to trade. We're going back to c2. And of course, that rook was hanging, but we couldn't take it because ours was hanging as well, our queen. That is. So no trades, just go back. And now let's figure out what black is going to do in order to give himself development, because, you know, it's not so easy. For example, if you consider playing a move like this, you're losing the exchange. This time I will take it. If you move the rook, here, for example, we will take this pawn, and I believe this pawn is more valuable than the other extra that you have. We can also protect it after that, make sure this bishop in f6 is going to remain restricted. So that's not quite an easy decision. So black decided to play bishop e7 in this position, trading a relatively active piece of white. Bishop takes e5, and now finally, basically, white has recaptured his pawn. With a very good position still, because black's bishop is still stuck on c8. So in order to come up with something to do also, and because white hasn't quite had the chance to play this move a4, black figured they would play a4 and try to get the rook out through a5. Quite a typical idea, you probably have seen it before. Bishop d6, let's trade. Trade. Do we take with the pawn or do we take with the rook? Which one is it gonna be? I go for the same move that Andy played, because, you know, obviously I've seen the game, I've annotated it. I'm gonna go with the c pawn. It makes sense, right? I mean, we could have that outpost for the rook had we had the opportunity to activate the rook on 7th rank, or checkmate, or put more pressure on some pawns. But right now there's nothing. So listen, we're taking the c pawn. Black played the move bishop e6, and now we want more space. Black has finally been able to connect his two rooks. It's move 30, guys, by the way, in case you want to know the move here. It is move 30. Black has managed to connect the rooks, but, you know, this position is like the kind of position that I like personally, positional. At least I chose something that I like too, hopefully. It is appreciated. We see a lot of great dynamic attacking games, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot in the Great Nationals. I'm, again, looking forward to it. Only 2 weeks away, really. But what don't I do to see a beautiful positional game? And here in this position, e5 is played. So he has his passed pawn over there, and he connects it with another one. Now he's got two connected pass pawns. Who wouldn't like that, right? And it's still the middle of the game. We have a lot of pieces we can use to support them. And with this bishop, I know a lot of you are thinking, what, Sabina, again, that bishop? Yeah, that bishop is very strong on the diagonal and control squares. So it stops black from pushing the b pawn, and it's just nice, you know? And so at this point, we can figure out the right moment to push d7, but first let's just connect our pawns, and then we'll see d7 and then rook b7 is certainly a great idea to look forward to. And black really is struggling. There's not so much that they can do, so they're thinking, okay, our pieces, most of our pieces are on this side of the board. We need to attack or something. So yeah, sure, f4. Okay, well, since the attack is something you want to do, sure, go for it. Now, this is a moment where Andy has made a small mistake that could have changed a little bit how this game would go, just a little bit, or maybe more. And this is like another lesson that I want you to take from this game for your tournament. This whole lesson was basically kind of planned in such a way that it kind of gives ideas for you to think about what you may struggle with, because right, like the tournament takes place in 2 weeks, and if you had not, you know, if you're not a competitor in that tournament and you're just a player who's planning his next or her next tournament, you want to make sure you kind of pay attention to some of these lessons that I give, because who knows, maybe that's something that you do a lot, or you know, you can learn from. So when we have a better position, when we're winning, we have the tendency to, everyone is different, but like there are two kind of people. Like one is trying to find the best possible move in the position, because you know, like Dr. Tarash was saying, right? If you find a good move, look for a better one or something. Or Fisher also, I think, potentially. But then there are people who want to finish faster, like, oh, I'm winning, let's just finish the game fast, I can go, have fun, you know, do other things. Well, in my opinion, neither of the approaches are that good. I've done both, and well, I cannot say that I have a favorite one. Both of them have the ability to mislead you a little bit. Because if you are a player who enjoys chess very much and you really want to like find a really good move, you're gonna stay there and you're gonna look at all the ideas and try to find how creative you can be and stuff. But if you are a kind of player that you are like, oh, I just want to be done with this, I want to win, why is my opponent still playing, for example, then you may just simply rush and you may miss things. So what you have to do, you have to try to do, this is a lesson for everyone, including myself, make sure you keep the same calm as you have had up to that moment. Just forget that you're winning, play the position, try to play what like the same way. And what is that way? Look for threats, look for what your opponent wants to do, and then try to find moves to stop that, and while continuing to do the things that you think are good for you to continue improving the position. But don't forget to pay attention to the threats. Now, obviously, this move f4 is trying to open up the f file, and you're looking and you don't see any specific threat, because obviously it takes you recapture, so there's nothing about that. f3 could be something that they do, but then of course you can also move the bishop to f1 and then they have nothing. So that's not a big threat. But there's another one, which actually they could have done here. So if you saw that here it was not possible, you should double check and see if it will be possible after f4. So in this position, for example, if black chooses to take this pawn, obviously you've seen this bar moving, we have this tactical idea, rook takes b7, sacrificing the exchange, we take the bishop, feel free to go back, queen f7 or even queen b3 if you want, but we can recapture, and these pawns here are going to be strong enough to help us with the bishop to be promoted. And no, I'm not going to be worried about b2 in this position, because what I'm going to do is have the ability to grab your rook. So I might give you a check first to push you in the corner. That way the king will be far away from my pawns. Nice in between move. Always consider those. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. Then we can just grab that and then go for d7, right? And because we have the connected pawns over here, he doesn't have time for rook a1. And if he tries to block it, we have this pawn going. And now you can see why I wanted the check. With the king being further away, e7 just wins. So that move would not have been possible. So f4, in this position, it's going to potentially be possible. So the safest way to avoid things to happen is to play the move rook to d2. This keeps everything covered on the second rank. Nothing is going anywhere. If they play bishop f5, because this could have been potentially something that Andy was worried about, we got this move bishop e4. We had it earlier too. It doesn't win an exchange. If they capture in g3, we take back with a pawn. Everything is covered and defended, and we can later think about a way to push d7. Now, Andy has made a small mistake in this moment, and I didn't watch the game live when it was played, so I do not know if he was low on time here or not. But this move allowed black to capture in g3, and here he actually had a really good move. And it's not bishop takes a2. That was always something to be thought about, but it's this nuance here that is bishop f5, like I showed earlier, but there's a difference now. So the difference is that white has separated the pawns by pushing, has separated them a bit too soon. And with this move bishop f5, we are making sure the bishop is gone, and then, you know, the second rank is going to be weak. So we'll have the ability to consider taking here and some queen f2 stuff. And if we do it right away, maybe it doesn't completely lead to something good, because there's rook d3. This fourth rank is covered, third rank is covered, and the queen doesn't have a mate or anything, or checks. But if after bishop e4, black plays takes, and now queen f2 is fine, but not take the pawn, just rook d8 first. Black will have the ability to also bring in this rook in some situation, or just go rook f7. And white doesn't have the time to push, because this is indeed going to be different. Like, let's just say you do something like this. We have this move. You know, trades, and those pawns, even if they're so strong, they're not really strong enough to be supported. That's why, you know, they would have been better off a little bit more behind and just try to find a way to avoid some of these trades. How would things be different with the line that I suggested here with rook d2? Well, after this, we have that covered, right? So, you know, you can go rook d8 if you want to. Nobody's, well, probably should take first. And then go rook d8 if you want. Nobody's stopping you, but now I will have e6 with tempo, and you have no infiltrations. Every single rank or square is covered by one of my pieces, and no pieces of black will reach white's king. So white's king is weak now, but no piece will reach it. And that is a very key, important factor. So Andy must have not realized this and played the move d7, but neither did Maksulu, and Maksulu made a big blunder now, after which Andy has completely, you know, won the game like without any problems. So bishop takes a2, rook takes b7, and now bishop b3. This is probably, wait a second, he took here first, my bad. First took and then bishop a2. I knew I skipped something. So rook takes b7, bishop b3. And now the question is, which rook do you give? Do you capture this bishop with a rook, or do you move the queen and let them take the rook in d1? What do you do here? Nah, not move it. Take it. We take it. Rook takes b3. It's much faster. right? So the position now, since we're gonna lose material, and out of nowhere, black has the a-pawn pass. Come on, we need to do something about it. We need to be fast. If we want our pawns to promote, we need to be fast. And by capturing this bishop, we're making things a bit faster for ourselves. A takes b3 was played. Now, in case of queen takes b3, we would take, and then do you remember the position I showed you earlier? After bishop takes c6, we're attacking this rook, but in the same time we have bishop d5 check pawn, or just check to push you away, and these pawns are advanced enough to actually help us with the promotion. So, you can't take with the queen, you're gonna take with the pawn and be very happy that the queen stays there, but yeah, sure, the queen stays there, but guess what? It stays there, but there's still this idea, you know? And at this point, you know, white is winning. No move will help black come out of this situation. But queen f2 was played, the final attempt to support the b pawn to promote, but white's pawns are more powerful. They're two and they're connected. And yeah, we're in exchange down, but that's okay. King h2, and now b2 was played. And the beautiful finish, I will let you, you know, for like maybe a minute to think about this. There's a beautiful finish that white had in this position. And what do you guys think? What do you guys think about it? White to move. I hope I remember it correctly. Yeah, I am. Okay, I'll help you with one move, the first move. I'll help you with the first move. Check. And queen f2. Queen f7. If you go king h8, I think it's probably the same thing. So we're gonna look at queen f7. White to move and win. Let's see how many of you can find it. That's right, Justful. Yes. Queen takes a8. Oh, such a beautiful way to finish the game. Come on. Didn't this game have everything? Maybe that makes you change your mind about the Catalan a little bit, potentially. I don't know. Queen takes a8. And yeah, a resignation. If you take, we don't. Not okay. That's fine. I'll convince you. We promote. We don't take the rook back. This is the idea, and of course I have to show it on the board. There was a resignation, by the way, in that moment. And if you go queen f8, we get this checky and mate. Okay, very nice way to finish the game, and that was the game. So I wanted once again to show you this game because I thought it's a nice inspiration. It's a nice way to kind of look at you know, something like look at the player's game who is of age, who could play in the great championships, as an inspiration. And also I felt that there are quite a few learning ideas, being mindful about development, grabbing pawns, initiative. And just remember, just because you're gaining initiative and it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to get your pawn back immediately. You can have the ability to maintain this positional you know, advantage, let's say, over your opponent. They have the pawn, but you have a better placed pieces, better structure, keeping them from developing. And with time, at some point, what happened in this game is black remained relatively restricted with their pieces, and they never really got the chance to take them out in such a way that it would be leading to a meaningful position. When they finally were able to take them out, and they were given a chance in this position, when they were given a chance after d7 to kind of get back into the game and get into the attack mode, they weren't able potentially psychologically to do that, because they still were under the toughness of the game of having to find a way to develop. That I think you know, black just simply missed this ability to stay active. He wanted, but he wanted it in a way that actually allowed white to do what it is they wanted to do. So white converted their positional advantage into somewhat material one. That was what I want to say. I think it is important to have those things in mind as you play, and of course when you're winning, you want to, you know, like I said, keep that calmness if possible, because it's not over until it's over, really, until you actually sign those score sheets and it says X person won. You have not fully won the battle. You've won some, you've gained an advantage, but you know, you need to make sure you fully convert. So that was something, you know, I wanted to point out with this. Now something else I want to say, like it's tough, you know, preparing for a tournament these days. I was when I was asked to share some things that I do to prepare for the tournament, I had a great laugh, because it's it depends if you have the time. I know a lot of the kids who are competing in this tournament are in school, and they have deadlines and they have final tests and things, but you need to find the time for chess if you really want to compete. And a great way to introduce my next segment of this stream, potentially, is going to be to let you know about something that's happening at the nationals. As you may know, for the Super Nationals, US Chess has partnered with ChessKid, and they have created the first on-site puzzle chess competition. And I think it's basically, you know, when you know you want to compete in such an event, you know you want to do a lot of puzzles to get yourself ready. And puzzles can also be helpful for people who just want to maintain their, you know, to stay in shape chess wise, right? The same way as if you want to stay in shape, you know, for your health, right? You're gonna go exercise, you know, regularly. The same way you're going to have to do that for chess, and puzzles are a part of training, puzzles and calculation exercises. And so what we're gonna try to do is just go on ChessKid right now for a moment, and let's see if I have created this correctly. There we have it, perfect. So I wanted to go on ChessKid and just kind of do some puzzles together, and this would be like the first thing that we would do, you would do, in order to get yourself ready for a competition. Like, this is something I recommend all the time, whether you're gonna do puzzle battles with your friends, or if you're gonna do regular puzzles. Those are great things, but if you want to particularly prepare for this event that takes place in the for the nationals in Spokane, then you would want to go on ChessKid and prep it. This is something that I've already discussed and on a stream previously when we were preparing for the Super Nationals. We had, you know, Women's International Master Yvette Garcia Morales, who took us through the process. So the way it works is basically they will give you, like, you should have your own device. Make sure you download your, you know, you have ChessKid, you have internet working on your device, and you will go there at the time of the competition, and you get, I believe, 15 minutes or 20 minutes, and then you have to solve as many as possible. You guys see it? Okay. Let's come up with the solution for some of these positions. If it's easy, if we see it fast, we will do it. It's kind of like when I stream on my channel and I do a bunch of puzzles and then they're easy. That's what we're gonna do now. All right. So the idea is you try to solve them. Okay, I'll try to show you here. So, okay, queen is attacked. Do we care about it? I don't think so. So the faster you solve it, the more points you get. So you actually want to solve them as fast as possible when you are there. Because otherwise, if I stay now and I talk to you for like a minute and, you know, I don't solve it, or if I put the wrong move, then that's going to be a problem, right? But you try to look for the patterns. When you train, I would recommend that you train mixed puzzles, but also, you know, when you know it's a puzzle, it's much easier for you to figure things out. When you're playing, you don't know there's a puzzle. So how can we try to improve our pattern recognition to be able to see those things at the game? That is the big question. And I would say in order to do that, you need to make sure you're paying attention to what exactly is happening on the board, because if you know, if you're not like realizing, okay, here we got two pieces attacking the queen, right? So this is an easy one. We're just gonna take the queen. But if you're not noticing geometrical patterns in the position, both when you do puzzles and in your own games, you're not going to be able to remember what you see in the puzzle, because it's not, you'll never have the exact same position in your own game like you do in these puzzles. It's very little likely. And you saw I waited some time. I specifically waited to see how it was going to pan out, and I got much less points. And this is something I had noticed when we streamed before. When Yvette was there, and we realized, so if you're trying to get a lot of points, you need to solve them as fast as possible. Don't waste time. Just keep looking for the patterns and just solve them and try to get oopsie, see, I almost went for check rook when there's a mate in one. So when you go on the official US chess page, and I should probably put the command, like you can look for schedule for the event. If you go there, you should be able to actually see it. I should have probably done that earlier. But that's the place where you also register if you want to. So if you go on US Chess, if you don't know how to find the page, just go on uschess.org, and then this will show up on the main page. So it doesn't look good right now because I have it set up for something different. But like when you click on it, it's just, you have the ability to reserve a room, check for the schedule, read rules, read the rules, read the check out the advanced entries. You can check out who's playing in the tournament. You're also getting the ability to register for different things. So anyways, like you just click on it. It's on the main page, and then it just gives you the ability to look for the different events and schedules that are there available and such. So the most important thing is, of course, to figure out how to register. For those of you who haven't registered yet, basically I think it's pretty simple. You click on the registration information. You can read the amount that you have to pay before that. So of course, if you miss the first two deadlines, now the entry fee for the moment is $235, and you can do so until Monday, December 1st. The price, at the end of the day, the price will go up. So I do recommend, if you want to join, I mean, there's a big difference between those two entry fees. So if you didn't register yet, please be sure to do it before Monday. Maybe not today, because you might still be doing some Black Friday shopping, but just click here on the right side of the page, go register, and once you go there, it's going to open a new page for you. It will take you to a page where you can see all the things that you can register to, and then you would click here, and then you would register. Now let's talk about the different events that take place, first from the playing perspective, and then from the side events as well. So of course, this is the main tournament, right? So you definitely want to register for the national championship. So you would click Wait a second. Why it didn't take me to that? It didn't take. Oh, sorry. It is up here. It is up here. Right. Sorry. It is up here. I scrolled down too much. All right. So you click here, register, and when you click on register, it's going to ask you the information about your US Chess ID, your name, last name, birth date, contact information, and so on. And then you would choose what tournament you're going to play in. Like if you know which section you're going to play in, right? There's a section for each grade, which is really nice because, you know, it's nice to play in your own grade where you're going instead of playing all 12 grades in the same. Right, so you would select the tournament you want to play in. Of course, you can put like a school if you want. I cannot select anything because they would not let me. They would not let me do that. If you do want to take a bye in one of the rounds, you can also select it here. You would choose one of those, and then you would scroll down and write down the accompanying person, because obviously, you know, the kid would probably be accompanied by an adult, and then, you know, add to cart, and then of course you probably have been through this website, you know how to do it. But now let me tell you a little bit about the side events that are very cool, and I'm going to talk about each one. So of course we have the Great Championships. I showed you how to register for that, and then we have the Blitz. There's a K-12 Blitz tournament. You can find a lot of information, like you can click here to find the information, and then you can click there to register for that specific tournament. There's a link for every single event, right? So this one is going to be two separate events. One is for K-6 and one K-12, and you can register on site too. And then of course there will be you know, prizes for each one of these tournaments. And you can, for the K-6, you can also you will be getting prizes under these rating categories as well, which is pretty nice. All right, so there's a Blitz tournament. This one takes place on Thursday at 5 p.m. and it's 3+2. In order to register for that, right? So you always click on a different link. Then we got the National Puzzle Solving Championship in partnership with ChessKid, as I told you about. We did some puzzles together to see how we would do. For this one, you can find the information also here. The event also takes place on Thursday. It starts at 3 p.m. This is how it was at the Super Nationals as well. And there'll be two grades, K-6, and then from 6 to 12 grade, right? So that way everyone has a chance to win. So you have your own laptop, or if you want to do it on a phone, I believe you can do so too, laptop, phone, tablet, and you would register on online or on site. And oh, there's no on site, my bad, apologies, I didn't read that part. No on-site registration. You have to log in online, and you will get a lot of information on site about how things are working, but definitely it will be starting at 3 p.m. local time. This is an important thing happening on Thursday. And now for the two big things that I want to talk to you about. Of course, there's a Bughouse Tournament, like usually. That one is a team, and they have trophies too. One of my students once won. It was pretty nice. It was featured on Chess Live. And then there's a Friends and Family Tournament as well. That will be fun for parents who are going there to know that they have the ability to take part in that tournament. And that one is a 4-round game, 30, delay 5, and it takes place on Saturday. You can see the round times over here. And my two favorite and important things that I would highly recommend registering for are two Simuls. Now, one of them is from a dear friend, Grandmaster Magesh Panchanathan. Magesh and his wife have been very, very kind and welcoming. When I lived in North Carolina, they invited me to their academy, and it's really wonderful to see that he's the guest grandmaster for the tournament. So you can register for that Simul, and it's limited to 30 people. It takes place on Friday at 9 a.m. And then, as you can see, there are a few other things that are being shown here to you, so that you kind of have an idea what to expect. But these two simuls are very important. Like, you can get to play against Grandmaster Magesh, who's also super nice. You can always ask him a lot of questions, and always willing to share a lot of his knowledge. So you don't want to miss the opportunity to meet him. The one that I would love for you to consider registering for and taking part is the one the one given by the director of communications. I guess he changed his title. National Master Brian Tillis. So basically, this is a charity simul. It means that all funding from this tournament is going to be used for a cause, and the cause is all the money raised are going to support Title I schools to have the opportunity to be brought to nationals. That is, I believe, the goal of raising this money. So it will be really nice. For those of you who don't know, Title I schools are schools that support at-risk youth in the United States, and US Chess is involved in creating finding ways to support kids at risk. So I highly recommend joining this. Brian will be having the simul on Friday as well, so it takes place in the same time. It's going to be in the same location, but like different areas. So if you want to support, it will be really nice if you know someone who's interested in registering, send them this way and have them join Brian's simul. Why can I not register? One second. Oh, here it is. All right. So you would click on that register button on the top, and then you get to this page, and you put again your ECF ID, name, and everything, and then this, bam, add to cart. If you know anyone who's interested, please send them the way. You are going to do something good for a community that could use the help. So yeah, I think it's really wonderful that Brian does this, and I hope you will consider joining. Lastly, another thing that I wanted to show you is also, of course, we will have there will be quite a few other events taking place on site. Grandmaster Magesh is going to have a couple of lectures. There will be Grandmaster Michael Rode there, one of the a very strong grandmaster in the United States as well. He was one of the top at the time. He's older now, doesn't compete as much, but he's a great coach, and you'll have the ability to challenge him to some blitz. You'll also have a lecture with him. All this information can also be found by clicking the schedule. So when you click the schedule, you have the ability to print to get a printed PDF so that you don't miss all the events that are taking place there. But what I love that they've done with the site is that you can actually click on every single day and see what is happening on which location. So we have like on Thursday, for example, right? We have Bughouse registration and the tournament going on from 9 to 2 p.m. It's really nicely arranged. So if at some point you're missing the PDF, you don't know where to do, what to look for, you have the important events over here. Then on Friday, you can see a lot of the lectures, the game times, the blitz, of course, these two very important simul events with Grandmaster Magesh, but also the charity simul with National Master Brian Tillis. And then there are there's a list with some of the lectures that are taking place every time, and round times, of course, for every single one of these. Now, usually at these tournaments, there are some other things happening, so I do recommend that you click here for the complete schedule, but I probably, it's not gonna look so good on my, it's not gonna look very good for me right now because unfortunately I didn't plan on opening it, but do check it out and look for some of the other events and lectures that are taking place. Another thing that's dear to my heart for girls that are competing in the tournament is the Girls Club Room. I ever since it got created, more and more girls are stopping by, and they can enjoy free lectures, game analysis, prizes, just a really cool environment to hang out and just kind of chat, get to know one another, and it's always a blast to be a part of the event when it does take place. So if you happen to be on site, please stop by, say hi to everyone, and yeah, let them know to check all of this information. I don't know if there's something else that I didn't say, and maybe I hope I presented it well enough for everyone. Everything is pretty straightforward on the site, but once again, registration does increase on Monday. So if you haven't registered yet, there's still time. There's still side events that you can consider registering to. And yeah, of course, a lot of information all on the website. I had pinned everything to the chat, so hopefully this was a good kind of review. Last advice on preparation for the tournament: just remember to be confident. Do not look so much at the rating of your opponent and let that affect your play. Try to play the position, play the board, and don't relax until the end of it. I would probably say that you should review your openings at least 2-3 hours, like when you get the chance to, 2-3 hours per week. Do daily tactics and maybe review some of the theoretical endgames. There's a lot of resources out there on how you can review a lot of things. I don't want to name names so that we are not focusing on just a specific group, because there are a lot of websites that can provide that, but of course a lot of books as well. So if you have the ability to combine everything that I have mentioned, play with confidence, and try to have fun is the most important thing. As always, very, very thankful. I'll be commenting on the games. Thank you to US Chess for giving me the opportunity to do that. And I hope you had a blessed Thanksgiving. I hope you're going to enjoy the rest of the weekend. Do some more shopping, if you will. And don't forget to register. If you can support a cause, I would be greatly thankful to you, especially if you can join National Master Brian Tillis's charity Simul. That would be great. And just have fun, and try to do other things besides just playing the main tournament if you can, and remember every day to not dwell on the past too much. If you lose a game, that's okay. Try to stay as focused as you can for the next one. There's always going to be another one, and just you try to be your best self.